Let's start today's current affairs. Indore and Udaipur become the first two Indian cities to join the global list of wetland accredited cities. Udaipur is considered as city of lakes, and both these cities, Indore and Udaipur, they become the first Indian cities to join the global list of wetland accredited cities. You should know a point. There is a announcement. The, the announcement for the accreditation was made on 24th January, and we are very close to World Wetland Day. February 2nd is considered as the World Wetlands Day. What do you mean by accreditation? Accreditation is nothing but international recognition of the cities that value, preserve, and conserve wetlands. If the city goes with very good wetland conservation practices, wetland preservation practices, wetland management practices, then it will get an international recognition. That is called accreditation. Udaipur and Indore got this accreditation. Accreditation is the international recognition of the cities that value their natural and man-made wetlands. It is granted to only those cities that are able to satisfy the 6-point international criteria, such as adopting conservation measures for wetlands and their ecosystem services. The Independent Advisory Committee was established on wetland city accreditation, which accredited 31 new cities to the list that includes 2 from India. Bhopal, the state capital of Madhya Pradesh, was also nominated. However, it could not get the accreditation from the committee, that is Independent Advisory Committee. There is a convention called Ramsar Convention which deals with wetlands. The Ramsar Convention is an intergovernmental treaty between 172 countries of the world that lays down the framework for conservation and cautious and wise use of wetlands as well as their natural resources through local, regional, and global actions. Ramsar Convention was adopted in 1971 and it's a very famous convention with respect to protection of wetlands. And February 2nd, we celebrate as World Wetlands Day. Next important news, Waqf Bill cleared by Joint Parliamentary Committee. 14 amendments proposed by NDA accepted. There's a bill called Waqf Bill, Waqf Amendment Bill, which aimed to amend Waqf Act 1995. Majorly, this act deals with work properties, dealing with work properties with accountability and transparency. And there's much furor about the bill, and the bill which aimed to amend the Waqf Act 1995 to address the challenges in regulating and managing the Waqf properties have sparked a debate between the ruling party and opposition parties. Waqf properties are the properties which are meant to be regulated by Waqf boards for pious and charitable purposes. For example, if you are a Muslim, if you are following Islamic law, if you are rich, you can voluntarily donate your property for some religious or charitable activities. Waqf properties is one of the largest properties in India, and after defense and railways, work play a key role. So almost they have huge properties, and the Waqf bill, which governs the management of work properties, was introduced in Lok Sabha on August 8, 2024. The bill seeks to enhance accountability and transparency in Waqf administration, which while making significant changes with respect to Waqf properties. So this is the thing. And our External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jai Shankar, is on 3-day visit to UAE. He is on 3-day visit to UAE for bilateral talks. UAE is the most important strategic partner and energy supplier to India in West Asia and hosts more than 3 million Indian nationals. And in UAE have more than 3 million Indian nationals, which is very, very important for India. So we have a very good diasporic contact. The two countries are also part of I2U2, India, Israel, USA, UAE, and India and UAE are now sharing a very good relationship in all respects. The present trade between India and UAE could you imagine what's the present trade between India and UAE? The present trade between India and UAE worth around $83.65 billion. Around $83 billion. A big trading partner. Okay. From the beginning, UAE is a very big trading partner. Even we purchase mostly our crude oil and other things from UAE. India sends humanitarian aid to Kurdistan region in Iraq. India has sent a shipment of medical supplies, including inhalers, ventilators, etc., to support the residents of Kurdistan region in Iraq. The assistance reflects India's approach to foreign policy focused on global cooperation and humanitarian efforts. The humanitarian assistance to Kurdistan, which is not a sovereign country, it's a semi-autonomous region. Once again spotlights India's humanitarian assistance to Kurdistan, which is not a country. It's a semi-autonomous region. It highlights that India follows people-centric foreign policy, and India is also Vishwabandhu, Vishwaguru. And our External Affairs Minister is more prone to use the word Vishwabandhu. Now, we used to call Vishwaguru. Now, the word Vishwabandhu is coming up in news. India, Indonesia call for resolution of maritime disputes in South China Sea. So, recently, on the occasion of Republic Day, Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto have come as a chief guest. Now, India, Indonesia calls for resolution for maritime disputes in South China Sea. India and Indonesia called for the resolution of maritime disputes and the conclusion of code of conduct in the South China Sea in accordance with international law. And also, they wanted to follow not only they, and also they wanted to follow not only these two countries, they wanted to request all other countries to follow UNCLOS, United Nations Convention on Law of Seas. This comes a day after a meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto. The Indonesian President was a chief guest to the India's Republic Day, 76th Republic Day. It's a very important thing, and particularly South China Sea issues should reflect, we have to reflect the entire episode on China. So, coming to China, our Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri is in China, and he is meeting his counterparts in China. After 2020 Galwan Valley, Eastern Ladakh issues, in the last October, India and China wanted to disengage and also de-escalate the tensions in the Eastern Ladakh, Depsang and Demchok areas in Eastern Ladakh. In continuation of that, direct flights are going to be resumed between India and China. Visa curbs are going to be minimized between India and China. And more importantly, China is expecting that India will lift ban on various Chinese apps also. So now China and India are in negotiations with respect to normalization of relations, which were ruptured by 2020, which were ruptured in 2020. Now China and India are expecting to have a normalization of relationship. Further, in this respect, Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri is in Beijing today, and tomorrow also he will be in Beijing. He will be discussing various issues with respect to India and China border issues, border management. We all know that we are holding special representative level talks, and we have proper dialogue mechanism with respect to border issues, LAC, line of actual control. You all know that in 2020, China attacked India, and we have a skirmish in the Eastern Ladakh area, Galwan Valley area, where our soldiers also died, Chinese soldiers also died. Now, we are trying to normalize our relation with China by reintroducing the direct flight contact with China. Coming back, 58,000 snake bite deaths yearly. Supreme Court tells the center and states to act on this. This year, I'm observing 2-3 articles are coming up in the newspapers with respect to snake bites. In our Telugu channel, I made a video also last 2 months back about snake bites. Snake bite center notified snake bite as a notifiable disease, so that every snake bite should be recorded. And even Supreme Court ordered the central government and state government to take action on minimizing the deaths of snake bites, deaths caused by snake bites. Noting that the issue of snake bites was prevalent throughout the country, the Supreme Court on Monday, in its order, asked the center to take all states on board to do something in making available snake bite treatment in medical facilities. The Supreme Court directed the center to do something to make snake bite treatment available in medical facilities across the country. This is the story. And snake bite is an important topic for your prelims this year and also mains. Chennai coast sees over 1,000 olive ridley turtles deaths in 30 days. In IUCN, Olive ridley is in vulnerable category. Olive ridley turtles are very, very famous. They come to Orissa, Gahirmata, Rushikulya and Devi coasts. And also few of them will come to AP, Tamil Nadu. Few of them will come to Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, etc. They'll come from the Pacific Ocean and they'll come to our beaches, lay eggs and go back. Conservation of these eggs, conservation of turtles is very important for India. And olive ridley turtles, uh, actually, there's a very interesting story about them. They'll come and lay their eggs where they were hatched, traveling thousands of kilometers, crossing the seas. They'll come and lay their egg in the same place where they were born. Interesting fact about olive ridley turtles. And this is an important question for prelims. Olive ridley turtles. Remember this. And recently, more than 1,000 olive ridley turtles are found dead in Tamil Nadu coasts. More than 1,000 olive ridley turtles were found dead in Tamil Nadu coast. Prime Minister Modi speaks to US President Donald Trump over phone. Prime Minister Modi spoke to US President Donald Trump over a phone call to congratulate him on securing a historic second term as President of the US. During their conversation, the two leaders discussed the bilateral relationship between the world's largest democracies and reaffirmed their shared commitment to fostering the global peace and stability. Prime Minister Modi last time spoke with Donald Trump on November 7th of the previous year, the day Trump secured a decisive victory in the US presidential election. And Jaishankar, our External Affairs Minister, have attended the oath taking ceremony of Donald Trump on January 20th. So, Lala Lajpat Rai's 160th birth anniversary today. January 28th, Lala Lajpat Rai's 160th birth anniversary. This is an important news.